Good morning, this is Kiran Raj. Welcome to the online classes on problem solving using C, chapter algorithm and flowchart, part 3. Today we'll be discussing about the assignment questions and we'll try to solve them. Most of them have submitted the assignment questions. One thing I noticed is, or I want to tell is, when you're solving any computer program or when you want to create the computer program, whether it may be in C++, Java or VB or anything, try to keep it as simple as possible. So when you try to keep the logic as simple as possible, preparation or understanding of the program will become easier. I've seen the most of the students, what they think is computer program, if it is one page, okay, then it is very easy, so I'll only study that and I'll go to the exam. Most of the students have that sort of mentality, but even if the program is 2 pages or even if the program is 3 pages, if you understand the logic, then it will be very easy to read or it will be very easy to understand the program. Once you understand the program or once you understand the logic, you can easily write the program as per your requirement or as you like. The computer programs, it is not restricted that you have to write this line and then you have to go to the next line. The same steps should be there, how it is done in the class. There is no restriction. The only thing you need to have is you should give the proper input and I should get the output. If any conditions is provided, then those conditions or those cases should be satisfied. That much only. You need not by heart any lines or you need not mug any lines. Understand the logic, then you can write as per your knowledge. This is not only applicable to my subject but to all the subject, that is programming subjects. So I am giving the importance to the algorithm and the flowchart, because if you understand how to make the logic, then programming is very easy. Let us go for the first question. Write algorithm and flowchart to calculate the amount based on the principal, rate of interest and time. What they have mentioned? You have to write the algorithm and the flowchart. Okay. For what? To calculate the amount. And what is given? By using what? By using principal, rate of interest and time. How to calculate the amount? Before calculating the amount, you have to calculate the simple interest. Simple interest is equal to principal multiplied by rate of interest multiplied by time divided by 100. This will give the interest. And how the amount is calculated? Amount is equal to simple interest plus principal. This is the only step you have to have. One is to calculate the amount, you should have the simple interest. So how the simple interest can be calculated? Simple interest is principal into rate of interest into time divided by 100. That will give the simple interest. And amount is the sum of simple interest and principal amount. Some of them made the mistakes in the formula, but no problem. This is just for your understanding, or the assignment was just given to know whether you have understood the algorithm and the flowchart. If your formulas are wrong, no problem. Now let me go for the algorithm. Always the step will be starting with step 1 or step 0. I will have the starting step, that is start. Then step 1, I have to take the input, or I have to read the principal amount, rate of interest and time, right? So I'll do that. Input principal to variable p. So I am storing, or I am reading the principal amount to variable p. Okay. In the next step, I have to read the value for the rate of interest. So step 2, input rate of interest to R. Then I have to ask for the time. So step 3, input time to T. That is step 3. Next is where you have to calculate the simple interest. Step 4. So I am calculating. So I will write compute SI, that is simple interest, is equal to P into T into R divided by 100. That is the formula. Divided by 100. That will give me the simple interest. Next, step 5, compute. I have to compute the amount is equal to P plus SI. After that, I have to display the amount. Step 6, display AMT. And step 7 is end of. So I have used the P for principal. So I am using the same variable, that is P and P here also. R is used here, so I am using R. T is used here, so I am using T. SI represents simple interest and AMT represents amount, and I am displaying the amount. I can write complete also, AMOUNT, no problem, or I can write it in the short form. If I am writing the complete name of the simple interest, then I can write simple interest. I can write it like this, or I can provide the underscore in this between them, simple and interest. Don't give the space in between, okay, because always the identifier name will not have any space in between, or it will not have any white spaces. That is the rule of your identifier. Okay. Now let us go for the flow chart. Start and again. So I should have the, then I have to have the input. So let me have them. This is used for input also and to output also. So I'll make two copies. Either I can write separately or I can write in the same box. And after that I have to process them. So I need the shape for the process. SI is equal to P T into R divided by 100. EMT is equal to SI, that is simple interest, plus P. What about here? I have to display. So let me display them. Display amount. So let me connect them also. So this is how your flowchart will be. Start, input, calculation part, that is SI is equal to P into T into R divided by 100. Amount is equal to SI plus P, display of amount, then end. Okay. And another thing I have noticed in the your assignment, there was gap between this arrow and joining of the any shape. There should never be gap between the shape and the arrow. And arrowhead also, it should be directly connected or it should be attached to the shape. There should never be any gap. Next one, whether the entered number is odd or even. How to check the entered number is odd or even? One simple mechanism, divide that number by 2. For example, if I am having 4, I will divide that number by 2 and I will check whether my remainder is 0. If my remainder is 0, then I can say that the number is even number. But let me say that when I divide the number, I get the odd number, or when I divide them, my answer is not 0, that is remainder is not 0, then I can say that they are odd number. So I will do that. Step 0, that is start. Step 1, input n, that is you are giving the n number as the input. After that I will directly check whether it is odd or even. You are checking or you are making use of condition. So I will use the if statement here. Step 2, if, because it is condition, so I am using if there. If n remainder is calculated by using the modulus symbol or the percentage symbol. So n modulus 2 is equal to 0. Then what you have to do? Then that is you are getting the remainder is 0. For example, 4 is the n, 4 modulus 2 remainder is 0. Then what you have to do? I'll directly display. Display what? Display n is even. Even number, I will directly display that or something like this one. that is for the even. If the condition is false, that is, if the n modulus 2, that is remainder is not 0, then what I have to do? That is else. If it is not the case, else I will directly display, that is remainder is not 0, I will display odd number. Let me take one example. N, let me have it as 4. 4 modulus 2 is equal to 0. That is 4 divided by 2, remainder is 0. Yes, it is condition is true. So I'll print n is even number. Now let me have another number, that is 5. 5 modulus 2 is equal to what? Is equal to 1 there. Remainder is 1. So it is not equal to 0. Then where it will come? It will come to the else part. So it will display n is odd number. When any condition is open, I have to close them. So I'll use and if. After that, step 3, I have already displayed the result, so no need of displaying it again. What I will do, I will directly end the algorithm. So I will show that with the flow chart. I'm going to have start and end, so I'll make the same copy. Start, end. After that, I have to have the input. So I need the input or parallelogram. So I'll have that. And while coming to display, I have to display two things. One is displaying it is odd and displaying it is even. So I'll make the copies of them. After that, I should have the condition also. That is to check whether the number is odd or even. So I'll have them condition here somewhere around here. Okay. So I'm having the input. All right. Input. Yeah. And I'm having the condition. So I'll start with is. Is n. What is the condition? N modulus 2 is equal to 0. Since it is condition, I should have the question mark. I should have the question mark. If n modulus 2 is 0, that is remainder is 0, then it should print something. If it is not the case, then it should print something. So if it is true, then it should print even number, right? So I'll write display even number so it will display even number, and if it is false, then it should display odd number. So I'll have that odd number. Now I'll connect them. So when I'm saying condition, that means I'll be having either it is true or it will be false. So I'll use that. if n modulus 2 is not equal to 0. That means this is false. If the condition is false, then display odd number. If the condition is true, then display even number. So start, I'm taking the input, I'll check the condition. If n modulus 2 is equal to 0, that it is true, then display even number and directly coming to n. If it is false, that is number is not divisible by 2, then it is odd number directly coming to n. Calculate the factorial of number. So let me make it very simple. How to calculate the factorial of number, or what is the factorial of a number? I can write 2 factorial is equal to 1 into 2. In the same manner, I can write 4 factorial, that is my answer is 2 only. 4 factorial is equal to 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. So that means my answer will be 1 into 2, 2 into 3, 3 into 4. So it will come around 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 4 is 24. 5 factorial in the same manner it will be 120. 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So again 4 factorial is 24. 24 into 5 is 120. So what I am doing? Just multiplying the numbers. If it is 5 factorial, then multiply the number from 1 to 5. If it is 7 factorial, then multiply the number from 1 to 7. If it is 10 factorial, then multiply the number from 1 to 10 and then give the product of it. So I'll write the algorithm. Step 0. So I have the previous one. I'll copy them. Step 0 start. Step 1 n. That n is a number. Step 2. So what I am doing here in the previous one, 1 into 2, 2 into 3, 3 into 4, 4 into 5, 5 into 6 till into n. So I am multiplying two numbers n times, right? If you remember the previous algorithm I have solved in the previous class, where I have added the sum of n numbers. In the same manner, I am doing here the product of n numbers, that is a factorial. So let me use the same thing. I'll write, since I'm going to use the loops here or iterative logic, I'll write repeat. You may be confusing why repeat or why need of using the for loop. So let me show that with the example again. Okay, let me show that in the simple manner. How to solve it? That is 5 factorial, right? How to solve it? Okay, you may be getting confused why the repeat and other things. So let me take one example, 5 factorial. I already mentioned if you are doing 5 factorial, then 5 into 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. If it is 10, then again the number will increase to 10. If it is 100, then it will be increased to 100. But if I am doing that in single step without using loops, then I can do that, no problem. But every time I change the value of the n, I have to go inside the program and then I have to change the program. For example, if it was at the beginning 5 factorial, then only I have to use the number from 1 to 5. If it is 10, then I have to go inside and then I have to change the formula 1 to 10. If it is 100, then I have to go inside the program again and then I have to rewrite the formula 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into till 100. That is not feasible or that is not easy. for you guys to go inside the program and every time to change the formula. If you see here, what we are doing here is, let us try to understand them. I am first multiplying 1 with the 2. After that, I'll get some answer, that is I'll get 2 as my answer, that is product. 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, where 2 is the product of 1 and 2. Now I'll multiply 2 and 3. So at that time I'll get 2 into 3 product value is 6. 6 into 4 into 5. So I'll get that product. So after that, I'll multiply. Again, 6 is a product of 2 and 3. 6 into 4, it becomes 6 into 4 is 24. So that is the product I am going to write here, 24. 24 into 5, that will give me 120. So that is how it is done. So what I am doing in every step, it is product, that is P into I. Where I am in every step I am going to increase I is equal to I plus 1, right? First it was I was 2, then I became 3, then I was 4, then I became 5. So let me generalize that and write the program. So let me do that. Factorial or product. So let me write factorial. Factorial is equal to factorial into I. After what I have done, after one iteration of I have increased the I value. So I is equal to I plus 1. Till when you have to do that? Till this condition becomes false. When it will condition becomes false, while n is lesser than or equal to, when I is lesser than or equal to given number, that is n. Now at the initial case I have to initialize the I also to first number, that is 1. Step 2, I'll initialize that. Initialize, or I can directly write I is equal to 1. In the same manner, factorial is equal to 1. So 1 into 1. If you write 0, what will happen? Why I am initializing, or else it will be 0, right? So 0 into 1 or 0 into anything, it is 0. So I have to end the while. So how to end it? End while. After that I have to display. So step 4, display factorial. Step 3. Now step 5, end. Any doubt is there? Now I have to write, I can just write it like this only, or I can write, I'll give the name for this subsection also. I'll write A and I'll make this as B. and I'll write repeat a to b, why I is lesser than or equal to n. Or if you are using for, then repeat for I to n. Repeat for I to n, and when you are using for, this statement you need not include, because when you are writing repeat for I to n, that means after one step it is automatically increased, that is I is automatically incremented, so you need not write this one. Repeat for I to n. So let me write the flowchart of it. I need two things, so start and end. Then I need it for the input and product display, so I'll use that. Display of the factorial. After that I have to initialize. Factorial is equal to 1, I is equal to 1. After that I should have the condition. Is I lesser than or equal to n, then condition. This is my condition. If this is true, then what I have to do? I have to repeat the things. I have to multiply. So I will go for the again for the process. I'll write it here since space is not sufficient. Into I is equal to I plus 1. So I have to add them together. If this is true, then it should execute this part. But as soon as this one becomes false, then it should come out and it should display the output. After displaying the output, we should go to the end of the program. So if this is true, false. If the condition is true, then factorial is equal to factorial into 1 and I is equal to I plus 1. But as soon as the condition becomes false, I will directly display the factorial, or coming out of the loop, or directly display the factorial, then end of the program. Thank you.